So welcome in. Sorry I'm a little late. I had a spot visitor that just came in. So we'll go ahead and get this thing started. Okay, so Cynthia, you're the first person here. First question. Well, you can't be the first person anymore. You're the second person here.
Yeah, the second person.
Okay. So
Hi.
let's go ahead and talk about this. All right, Cynthia, if I'm going to set up my revenue management dashboard, what is the first, what are some of the windows I should open?
Tableau.
Okay, so I should open Tableau. What should I open on Tableau now?
Bigger stats.
On the revenue, weekly revenue.
There's a new tool. Okay, how do I activate bigger stats?
There is a snippet with bigger stats.
Okay, how do I spell it?
BIGRRSTATS.
BIGRRSTATS. BIGRRSTATS.
Yes.
Okay, there it is. Let's open that up. Hopefully the link has been fixed so we can go ahead and rock and roll. All right, in addition to that, Cynthia, what else should I open up?
In the workshop, there is a bigger something there.
No, it's not bigger anymore. I need to open up something else too as well. What should I open up? Alvin, what should I open up in order to be able to properly do my revenue management?
2 types of token and BV stats.
Okay. We don't use BV
yeah,
stats
for
anymore. We don't use BV stats anymore. What should we use?
I forgot with that.
We just had it this morning.
I believe.
Huh?
Bigger.com?
No. Okay. Cynthia, tell Alvin what is the keywords that he should type in so Alvin opens the correct statistics now.
It's bigger stats, Alvin.
Okay. All right. And the reason we use bigger stats is already like this. So let's say, for example, we're going to take a look at a property. Let's go into a property that, let's see, let's go on my CRM. Okay, and then of course you want to open your own Trello management board so that you can see which property is doing how. So, okay, all right, we have bigger stats now. Let me show you an example of how cool I think this new tool is. So before, let me just do a side-by-side comparison. Okay, yeah, here it is. Here's BV stats, the one before. All right, here's bigger stats. And I'll show you on BV stats what it looked like before. So, oh, crazy, I have two screen recordings, yeah. I didn't know that. Just close that. Okay, so just to show you a side-by-side comparison, this is, let's say, a property that I want to do an investigation on. Pick a property, Alvin. Alvin, pick any property for me. Something that we want to take a look at. Okay, Dekuto. So let's say we go to Dekuto here. On the new version, we can see what the booking pace is, the weekly sales, and the monthly revenue all in one table now. All right?
I like it.
In the old way, what would we have to do? We'd have to go over here and go to Dekuto if we wanted to see the monthly revenue, right? And then we'd have to slide it. Okay, and then you would know, and then you'd have to go, no, you wouldn't even, you would have to open and then click over here, and then you'd have to go over to this thing and change this thing to Dekuto, and it would be annoying, right? It would essentially be 3 separate actions. So this is why you don't want to use BV stats anymore for revenue management. You want to use bigger stats. These will work a little bit better. Okay. Just to let you know, everyone, that there are some data discrepancies now. There are some differences now between bigger and BV stats. So whenever you see that, please let Bayou know. Okay, those are indications that maybe there's some inconsistencies in the data. Okay, so we're going to close BV stats now and pretend that it doesn't exist anymore. And we are going to go and we're going to peel this away. Okay, and then go into, move this over, wait, what am I doing here, actually? Okay, I want to move this here, and I'm going to drag this tab back up. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at where we should begin. So the first thing we can begin is, of course, on our calendar. So we take a look at what's on the line. So let's take a look at a few of these options. We've got Villa Shanti, Villa Tortoise, and lot 3. So we'll start with Villa Shanti first. So Villa Shanti, let's go into bigger stats, and let's select Villa Shanti now. So this is using our cool new tool, and we're going to take a look at Villa Shanti and see what we see. So Villa Shanti, once again, we just got started. So let's go over to Vita. Vita, how do you feel about the booking pace right now? Is it okay? Is it not okay? How is the booking pace looking for Villa Shanti?
It's not okay.
Okay, why is it not okay?
Because minimum you have to have 3 bookings per day. Or 6 bookings per day.
Why do you say 6 bookings a day? Okay, let's go to Alvin. Alvin, do you agree with Vita? We should get 6 bookings a day at Villa Shanti.
No, usually we around 2 bookings per week
2
for a
bookings a week.
villa.
Oh,
Yeah, 2 bookings a week, right?
I think you have to explain depend on the rooms they have.
No, it just depends on the unit. It does not depend on the rooms. So when we talk about a booking, we're talking about a sale on a unit. So yes, if the unit for sale is a 3-bedroom villa, then it is 2 bookings a week, not 6,
2 to 3,
right?
yeah.
But if it's a 6-bedroom guest house, then it's 2 bookings per unit that is selling. All right, so then it should be closer to how many bookings a week?
6 bedrooms, right?
If it's 6 separate rooms in a guest house,
So
what is the correct pace that we should be looking at?
12.
12. You get 12 bookings. So it depends on how many units you're selling. If you're only selling 2 units, there's only 2 Villa Shantis, then how many bookings a week should you get?
On the information 2.
But we have 2 Villa Shantis.
4.
4. So far we're looking okay, actually. We're looking okay. And has the booking pace improved or gotten worse? Okay, great, it's improved. What else do we know about the booking pace based on the color? What do we know about what people are booking right now?
This one for this
It's last
one.
minute.
Last minute bookings, you see?
This one for outside of this one.
Right. So 3 last minute bookings in September for September, and then 1 booking for November. Okay, all right, so we know that, let's say, off the top, the visibility of this listing is probably good, it's healthy. So that part is a relief. Then let's take a look at the monthly revenue. So the monthly revenue is great now. Now we look forward in revenue, right? Looking forward in revenue is, is looking forward in revenue good or better or worse than what we had before? Before we had looking back in revenue.
Forward better.
Forward is better. Why do you think forward is better?
So that we know when is high season, low season, when change price based on like the tank fill up.
Exactly. So remember what we said about making a revenue projection. So what we said about revenue prediction is, in order to know if we're going to hit a new revenue target, we need to actually get as much revenue at the initial point before the month starts, right? And then we need to keep the weekly sales going as high as possible each week into the month. So when you look backward, you don't really see how you're doing for the next months after the current month. In fact, all the relevant data you're seeing in the past is not relevant anymore. You've already achieved those numbers. But looking into the future, we can see that for October, we might be able to get the same as September. And why do I think that?
Because it hasn't even started and already having starting point at 3,000.
Yes. Okay. So October has not even started, and we're already at 3.6. We're already past the halfway mark for September and October. So what we can expect to get is weekly sales. Right. What are the weekly sales that have been happening in September? Let's see. So 1 week we had close to $1,000 worth of weekly sales. The next week we had close to $1,000 of weekly
Mostly
sales.
for outside of the
But
month.
mostly for outside the month, correct, right. So, what do we know now? Now that we see all the data in one place, what do we know? What should we do?
What should we do with what?
What should we do now? We know a few things that are fairly interesting. We know that October's revenue is
You
already
always change
above
the price
50%.
for a month.
When? What date should we change the prices now?
Days,
Yeah, which dates in the future should we change the prices?
like a month before.
Yes, a month before. Because we know that in September, we're selling a lot of dates outside of September.
Yeah.
Right? So now we know that also for, let's say, if we're serious about selling October, right? You can just kind of imagine in October. When October rolls around and we expect similar weekly sales behavior, then we probably would expect a lot of sales outside the month but few sales within the month. So then it is probably a good time if you want to achieve October revenue goals to start planning for October, right? And now is a good time too, because you see that there's 1 out of 4 people have booked for a month outside the current month, so there is some activity there. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the Villa Shanti calendar and see what the opportunities are. So Villa Shanti, 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 okay, Shanti, oh, okay. So we are taking a look at the Villa Shanti calendar, and since I'm waiting for that too, I might as well load up my rates too as well. So I'm just trying to be efficient, everyone. Just getting 2 tabs to work on 2 different orders. All right, let's go over to Rizal. Rizal, what do you think is the opportunity at Villa Shanti again?
At the gap night at 25 until 28 at room 2 bedroom.
All right, and then what's the second opportunity, Alvin, at Villa Shanti?
1st October until 3rd October.
All right, fantastic, great. Let's try to remember what we've done. Let's see if we've actually addressed these opportunities already by taking a look at the prices. And we can see that at the last time we came around to this Villa Shanti was on the 18th of September, all right? So that was about 5 days ago. Now let's see if we addressed this opportunity. The 20th to the 25th, we put in effectively a discount, and that was for which property? Was that for Shanti 1 or Shanti 2? Well, let's see. October 20th to 25th. Wait, why do we put in for October? I'm trying to figure this out. All right. October. So we put in a discount in October, right? We seem to have modified the dates in October. I'm not sure why. But let's see if we modified any other dates. We modified, here we did. We modified some dates from the 20th to the 23rd. And we made a slight discount. I remember this discount, right? We made it and it split the thing in half. So let's go ahead and take a look if that discount worked. So we've set $1.5 million to September 20th to 23rd, and it worked! So basically, I know. Essentially, there were not very high quality bookings. They're all for single day bookings, but it got sold. And being sold is better than not being sold. Being sold means $4.5 million of income rather than zero. Now, if Pot Wiro comes back and says, give back that $4.5 million to my guest, I want to have my room empty, I don't think he would say that, right? I don't think he would say, give $4.5 million back and then I'll have the villa sit empty. Because you can see it is already past the date, right? So we successfully bridged that gap. So high five, everyone. High five, high five, high five. Yes, success. All right, high five across. So we bridged that gap. We made $4.5 million. That probably would have been lost if we had not made that last minute discount. So that's cool. Now, we don't absolutely know, right? Maybe somebody would have paid full price for it. And once again, like I said in the beginning, it's your risk appetite. So once you get into a pattern, and once again, think of it as poker. Once you get into a pattern, you can have a very aggressive risk appetite. You can say, you know what, I'm going to raise. I'm going to go up on these gap nights. And you might be right. You might still get it sold. But then just try to remember why you raised and what the conditions were. And maybe you'll figure out how to do this better than we can so far. But based on at least the evidence right now, we're able to sell all 3 nights at 1.5 instead of, I think before we were trying to aim for what? Let's see what the before price was. Instead of 2.3. So instead of getting like, I guess, 2.3 times 3, 6.9, we got 4.5. So 4.5 is better than 0. So there you have it. Okay, great. So it seems like we were pretty effective there. Let's see if there's any other dates that we had set to give discounts. And nope, I think that was it. That was looking back before, right? So ta-da! Like the gap nights have been sold. Happiness. Okay, so yeah, I know. Yeah, imagine 2 days away too. We got it sold fast. So let's go see if there was any other adjustments that we made. Nope. Okay, so we made another adjustment back way early in September, on September 10th, for all of September at a discount selling $2 million. Okay, So let's come back to the question at hand. We have a gap now here, 25th to 28th, and what should we price it at? Well, let's see. Does anybody have any guesses? What should we price at? Let's go to Alvin. Alvin, where do we go in order to understand what the best price is?
Actually, the previous agreement, we're gonna change it to 1.5.
Okay.
Obviously, if it's still not selling. So we already changed it for that gap night on 23rd to
Okay.
1.8 million per
Right.
night. And if it's not selling, we're gonna reduce it to 1.5. Just for
Right. I remember this was Risky's bet, right? Risky was betting. So that's interesting, right? Now, boom, booyah, there's another piece of data there. There's another piece of data there. So if we had put 1.8 on the 20th to 23rd, okay, on the gap night that we sold already back up here, does anybody think that these 3 gap nights over here could have sold at 1.8? Why? Why would they not? Why would they be unlikely to sell at 1.8?
Because this one is not yet been sold at 1.8.
Right.
For the 25th to 28th.
Right. Okay. Did everyone hear what Pizza just said? If the gaps further in the future that have a higher probability of sell because they have longer runways, if those nights can't be sold at 1.8, then it would be logical to assume that last minute nights could never be sold at 1.8 because you have a smaller demand. If you are talking about a night 5 days in the future, there are far more people looking for that stay than something just 2 days into the future. So if we can't sell even a future night at 1.8, then we probably wouldn't have been able to sell these gaps here from the 20th to the 23rd at 1.8. So then that gives me more confidence that 1.5 was the correct price again, right? Because if we priced at 1.8, we probably get just still a gap. Okay. All right. So let's go back here. Let's go back here and set the price correctly. Now we're going to set this now at 1.5, right, Alvin? That's what we agreed. So let's go ahead and set it as 1.5. And after I set it as 1.5, what should I do?
Screenshot.
I should screenshot it, as Wayana said. And what should I do after I screenshot it?
Recommend it.
I should save it, and then I should push it, right? Because pushing it makes it real, right? It goes out to, oh yeah, it should auto sync all this stuff too as well. Okay, so I push it out, and it goes out, and it starts making it happen. Okay. Okay, I have to push. Push again. Push
You
again.
have to put it here and then here. Sometimes it works.
Now it's pushed. Okay, all right. There you go. So does everyone know what Wayana was looking at? She was looking at this last sync date. And this is a good indicator. And I learned something right now. I learned something from my wife. I mean, that's what being married for 14 years can be like. So
Sir,
yes.
I have
Tigani.
a question.
Yeah.
Why you turn on the auto sync? That is the normal. That is the standard base, right?
Yeah.
Not
The
dynamic.
normal is auto sync. Okay, so Tigani. Gani, this is a question from me to you. Is it normal? Should we have auto sync on the Agoda and Booking.com or no?
I thought on the Airbnb channel
Uh-huh.
it should be turned off because that is not dynamic pricing.
Oh.
You can point your mouse on the auto sync information
Okay.
up there.
Oh, price
sync
dynamic rate
goes to
only.
dynamic rates only. So
Oh,
if
okay.
you don't setting dynamic, don't auto sync.
Really?
That's what I mean.
Okay.
What is it back? What?
I'm not sure because I just see on the information from Tokyo.
Okay. So
I'm not sure.
but Gani, a lot of the villas are already on auto sync. Like almost all of them are on auto sync. And it works.
Yeah, because I think auto sync is used for dynamic pricing only.
Oh,
dynamic-
I see. Okay, got it. But if we don't use dynamic sync and we have auto sync, then it's still okay, right? It means that essentially, as long as we don't put in dynamic price, it doesn't sync.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think if we don't set a dynamic rates, basically they don't gonna automatically change the rates.
Okay, so
So if you put this, there's no effect supposedly.
got it,
No
got it,
effect.
got it. Okay, no effect. Okay, I tend to agree with Alvin in this case, Gunny, because I get auto sync. I get it. Like what it means is that when the dynamic rate triggers, then it will automatically create a pricing sync, and everything on the list, a go to Airbnb, will all sync automatically. So if we don't put in dynamic price, which we do not currently use for villas, then it should be okay. So actually, that opens up a new discussion. Why? Let's go to Cynthia. Why do we not use dynamic pricing for villas?
Because it will easier for us to control the revenue.
No, in some ways it would be easier actually to let dynamic pricing control the pricing. So that's not entirely it. Let's go over to Rizal. Rizal, why do you think why are we not using dynamic pricing for villas?
Uh, because maybe we can control more about the price, so we can want to if we want to reduce, we just reduce, not based on occupancy.
Okay, all right. Rizal has an interesting idea that we have more control based on how we want to do it rather than have it reflect on occupancy. What about you, Vito? Why do you think we do not use dynamic pricing? Why is it that we don't use dynamic pricing?
I actually don't know what's the function of dynamic price.
Very good. All right, so let me demonstrate what dynamic pricing is. Does anybody else would anybody else like to see a demonstration of dynamic pricing? All right. So standard pricing is essentially a standard rate. You give each interval of dates a rate. But dynamic pricing is something different. Dynamic pricing, you can say, I call it September to October dynamic rates, right? And I can put this on Airbnb or default. I guess it's default here. And then I set my dates. This is just the same as what I would do normally on anything else, right? On a standard rate. So here's the difference though, ladies and gentlemen. So I set a low rate. Let's say, for example, the least I will ever sell this villa for is maybe, I don't know, 1.2 million, right? So I can put 1.2 million down.
1.5, the lowest.
It's just for example, right? And then the high rate, I set the high rate maybe as 3.5, right? So the highest I'll ever sell it for is 3.5 million. Then essentially what I do is I set a low occupancy rate. So I set what is the low occupancy rate that triggers the lowest pricing. So let's say if it's 10%, I want to use the low pricing. What's the high occupancy rate? If it's, let's say,
50.
I don't know, 70%, then I'll trigger the high occupancy rate. And then the rate interval is maybe I have it like weekly, right? I'm not sure what that means actually. And
Actually, this is for a week.
for a week, yeah? Okay, all right. So then I can set the rates across week by week. Not day by day, but week by week, okay? All right, so then I put that into play. I go ahead and I execute that. I'm not going to do it, but let's say I did. I execute that. So then what will happen is Toki will automatically adjust. If it sees that you have 10% occupancy, it will use your lower price. If it sees that you have 70% occupancy, it will use your higher price. Right. Okay, so over to Wyatt. Why do we not use dynamic price?
Actually, I'm just curious. I want to see if they really Tokit work do their job.
Okay.
So if you can set up for October,
Mhm.
because October is low, and then we see online, it's really apply 1.2 or like different. I want to see that.
Okay. We can do an experiment. Yeah, that's a good idea. So why don't we go ahead and try that out? All right. So if we try that out right now, it could be a little bit dangerous because we have,
We
whatever.
erased it.
Okay. So what we'll do is this. How about let's go ahead and set October or September 2020. Okay? So we'll go over to a date way into the future. I hope that we can do that. Come on. All right. I can't. Here we go. What? Garbage. Oh, wait, because, yeah, sorry. I don't have the upper limit here. So let's go to 2020. and let's set for October 31st, 2020. Okay, and then we set for 2020 October 1st. Okay. Okay, so we're going to set this dynamic rate. All right, we're going to set this dynamic rate, and what do we expect to see? What will be the price of our property to Wayana?
So basically, if I'm a guest pretend want to book like on the 1 to the 3rd, and I expect get price 1.2.
Yes. Okay. So any date in October now should be selling at 1.2 because we have less than 10% occupancy. Okay. So let's go ahead and create that, and let's remember to delete it afterwards. Otherwise, we'll be like,
Yeah.
well, what did we do that for? So I'm going to rate map it. I'm going to push all these rates out. Auto sync now. Now when we do auto sync, then Toki will automatically sync it if based on the occupancy. So we don't have to go and sync it back every time. Right? Okay, so then where do we go in order to find the Airbnb listing now?
Bigger.
No. Where do we go to find the Airbnb listing? To, let's see, Gunny. Gunny, if I want to go and find the Airbnb listing for that listing, how can I find it quickly?
Oh, 50. I don't know.
From Bigger.
No, there's a faster way. There's a faster way, ladies and gentlemen. There's a fast way.
At the room.
A what?
Airbnb room, and you just copy room ID.
Yes, sir. So the room ID is here, ladies and gentlemen. You see that?
Yeah.
That, I just copy that, and then I go ABB rooms, which is a shortcut. I go ABB, whoops, what am I putting the shortcut there for? So I open up a new tab, and I go ABB rooms, right? And, whoops, oh my God. It just went all over the place. Jeez, I have tomatoes here, I've got junk here. Here's my text expander, okay. And then I paste the link, I paste the room ID,
Yeah.
okay? And then I go ahead and strike that out. And of course it doesn't work because it's, okay. All right, I do that again, and then I go to the link. Okay, once I go to the link, Vita, what should I search?
Search for the date for October 2020.
Okay, so now I'm going to search for October 2020. What do we expect to see in October 2020? What price do we expect to see?
1.2.
1.2 million. What is 1.2 million in dollars?
90.
All right, so there should be around $90. All right. So if we see $90, then it probably means it works. If we don't see $90, then it probably means it hasn't worked. Okay, let's go check. 85 USD to IDR is about 1.2.
Ah.
All right. So how about that? How do you like those apples? How do you like those apples? Ah! All right. So, okay.
That's work, okay?
All right. I just had a great idea. I had a great idea. Why don't we have dynamic and standard pricing in two intervals? I'm going to try something crazy. Here's Jing, be innovative. So what I'm going to do...
Duplicate, right? You cannot like overlap one.
Yes, you can. You can start overlapping, but that's not my point. My point is this. I think... Oh, wait. Now, problem. How do I find that rate? I can't find that rate anymore. How do I find that rate?
Go to dynamic.
No, I can't go to dynamic. That's adding rates. Edit. Search rates. What do I do?
Delete the filters. Bro.
I need the filter. Yes. Where do I filter, Alvin?
Here, right?
You need to delete the dates filter.
Yes. I need to delete the dates filter right there. So right here, I isolate the period, and I'm unable to see all the different rates. But once I remove the filter, then I can see all the rates, right? So this is fantastic. All right, here's my 2020 rates. No, wait, that's not my 2020 rates. Where's my 2020 rates?
This one.
Yeah, that's my 2020 rates. But I can also make it easier to see. I just put 50 price rates, and then I can see the entire rates, right? That's my dynamic rate. It has a big D on it. D for D's nuts. So, all right. So maybe what I'll maybe what I'll do is I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot. I'll go with like, let's say, I'll go with like 16, yeah? 16 million is pretty good. I mean, not 16 million, it's 1.6 million. That's about $113 for October, which seems, more or less reasonable, right? And I'll just kind of leave it here. I'll leave it here, and I'll just kind of let that thing marinate there, and who knows, right? Okay, here's my question. In general, why do we not want to leave dynamic rates ongoing until the very end. If it's already October next year, right? If it's already October next year, actually, why did I call it September, October? This is not labeled properly. It should just be October dynamic rates, not September, October. Okay, so why do I not want to leave that on until the very end? Let's go over to result. Okay.
To the very end of the break, sir?
Yeah, if it's already September 30th, right? I don't want to keep the dynamic rates rolling. Why?
Because it's like within windows, so we can make a price more, we can make a discount.
Okay, all right, that sounds fairly warm. Let's go to Alvin. Alvin, would you like to extend that?
You're concerning about the gap nights
Yes, the gap nights.
because yeah, in the end, if we are the closer to the months and we already sell it, and if we have gap nights, we actually sell it with more expensive price. And it's
Exactly.
gonna be harder for us to sell it.
Thank you very much, Alvin. All right, was that what you were going to say, Vita? As you get towards the end, as your gap nights start appearing, they get harder to sell. So it makes no sense to sell your gap nights for the highest price. You will ultimately lose all your gap night sales. So it should actually have, if I were to ask Toki, I would ask them for a double bend. I'd ask them for low occupancy, middle occupancy, and then super high occupancy. I want them to discount again. So we have like 3 bends. 10%, keep it cheap. 50%, make it more expensive. Afterwards, let's say it's past 65%, I would have it like be cheaper. That would be a cool feature if Toki offered that, right? Like sort of a bell distribution curve. But since they don't, then I can't let this dynamic price keep on riding towards the end because it effectively will block out my chances of a sale. Now, let's say I keep on riding this out, right? I really don't want to set it at 3.5 because that's kind of crazy. That's really going to make my life really hard towards the end. I'm going to sell it for probably 2.7, right? So once it gets a little bit higher, I'll sell it for around 2.7. But I probably am not looking at a 70% occupancy. I should probably start selling it a little bit higher once I get to 45% occupancy. Yeah? So, or maybe even lower. Maybe like actually after 35% occupancy, I want to start selling a bit higher. Okay, so it's okay to play around with this. I think just try it out and see what it is. It wouldn't hurt. October is still very far away. And I'm also calculating the damage. What's the worst that can happen? Well, nothing, right? I should be looking at these rates in September 2020. So I should be able to catch this if it's not working. So I'm feeling pretty safe about this, and I'm just going to go ahead and save it. And I'll go ahead and also record it too, just in case, right? And that's it. All right, what's the last thing I should do? Cynthia, what's the last thing I should do?
Screenshot?
Yeah, I'm going to post all my screenshots here so that I remember what I did and why I did what I did. So, okay, these are the screenshots. And what else should I do to make sense of my screenshots?
Tell the partner.
Yes, tell the partner and also copy
Sorry?
copy one more thing, screenshot one more thing.
Talking.
Yeah, screenshot the calendar. It's the same reason why we screenshot it before. If we sold the dates before, we wouldn't know. But if you screenshot it, then when you come back later, you know that you sold the dates correctly. So definitely screenshot that. Okay, all right, so that goes in, and that also goes in. Fantastic. Okay, all right, so that's done. Let's take a look at another villa. Let's take a look at lot 3. And can you tell Pat Widow that we just gave a discount for some of those things? Okay, all right. Delegate. It's important. Delegation is super important these days. Okay, so next one. Let's start with lot 3. Let's go to Vita. Vita, how would you like to begin this discussion about lot 3?
Take a look at the last screenshot that we attached.
Okay, all right. Let's take a look at the last screenshot that we attached. So the last screenshot that we attached looked like there were some opportunities in October, 3 to 6, October 20 to 22nd, and 24 to 25, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the tables that we put together. So we set some gap night discounts for 2.8 million in October, 20 to 25th, and some other gaps at 3.7, right? So we got the gap nights settled. Did we cover every gap night?
The third.
I just said it with Natalie actually.
Oh yeah?
That gap night. Yeah, just
Gap night.
just barely. This
Okay.
afternoon.
Okay, so we put in some new gap nights, yeah? All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at, let's see. Let's take a look at something else too. Dominic, what statistics should we look at before we do revenue and analytics? There's a statistic panel that we should look at. I can't hear Dominic. Dominic, I can't hear you. Okay, now I can hear you removing your headphones. Now I can hear you, yeah, go ahead.
Is it a weekly sales?
Yeah. Okay. So Dominic, since you just came in, there is a new version of BB Stats. This is bigger stats. Okay. So everything is on one dashboard now. You can see the booking pace, the monthly revenue, and the weekly sales of any property all in the same place. No more hunting around into 3 different places. So yes, let's go ahead and take a look and see what we did at lot 3. So at lot 3, what we've done is, parang, all right. So let's go around and try to figure this out. Gani, what would you say about the booking pace at lot 3? Is it healthy or not healthy?
Lot 3, I think it's not healthy.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. On the past 1 week, it is healthy because in 1 week there is 4 bookings.
Okay. Let's go over to Vita. Vita, do you agree with Gani?
What is the type of the property?
This is a
Villa.
So it's being
One
sold
unit.
as a unit. 1 unit.
So it's healthy.
It's healthy. Okay. Let's go over to Alvin. Alvin, do you agree with Gani and Vita?
The weekly sales. The weekly, no. The booking pace is pretty good actually,
Mhm.
especially for the next month, for the future booking.
Yeah.
And the weekly sales also will be. It's still healthy for me.
Okay, great. What if it was, let's say, 2 days from now? What if today was the 25th and nothing changed? So let's just pretend everything's the same. We're looking at this graph, but instead of today being the 23rd, today is the 25th. If today is the 25th, result, would this be healthy or not healthy?
Healthy, sir.
Okay, Rizal thinks if today was actually September 25th, this graph would still be healthy. Cynthia, do you agree with Rizal?
No.
Why? Why, Cynthia? Why do you not agree with Rizal?
I think it would be unhealthy since it will have a lot gap that there is not booking. There's no booking.
Right. So I agree with Cynthia. The reason why it's not healthy, if today is the 25th, that means you're looking at bookings that are happening from the 25th until the 18th. These 2 bookings happened on the 17th. So if today was the 25th, that would mean that if we're looking at this, that would mean we had no bookings for the past week. But thankfully, today is not the 25th, it's the 23rd. So within the 7-day period, yes, we have 2 bookings. But this particular type of graph is important to see because sometimes we get tricked, right? Sometimes we'd be like, oh yeah, everything looks good. Look, you got 2 bookings. But you have to consider what day today is. If today is October 1st, then it would be very, very unhealthy, right? You'd be like, yeah, look, I got 4 bookings. Yeah, that's great. No, right? You got 4 bookings, but you know, that was like a month ago, you got 4 bookings. So this is a common confusion that a lot of people looking at these charts might actually get sort of fooled. They go, oh yeah, that looks all good. But you have to consider what date today is. And if today's date is not a week after the last date on the graph, then it's okay. But if today's date is a week after than the last bookings, then it's not okay. Okay, so good discussion, good thing to catch up on. And all right, so we see the booking pace is okay. So if the booking pace is okay, let's go to Dominic. What can we infer? What sort of can we guess about the health of the listing in terms of its visibility if the booking pace is okay? Dominic.
Is the room rate, sir?
Not the room rates, okay. Let's keep on asking the question. Let's go to Alvin. What can we infer, what can we guess about the visibility of lot 3 if we have a good booking pace?
It's gonna be The visibility is going to be good if we have a healthy booking base.
Yes.
So
Okay.
our revenue is pretty much high.
Great. All right. And so this goes back to the core principle of revenue management. You need to have visibility in order for your prices to be seen, right? So if you don't have visibility, it doesn't matter what your price is. Nobody's going to see it because you're on page 500 of Airbnb. So whenever we talk about anything, we always need to talk about the booking pace first. The booking pace indicates that our listing is being seen. If it's being booked twice, generally you can assume that it's being seen about 50 times more than that. So if it got 2 bookings, it was probably seen about 100 times. There's, on average, through Airbnb, between a 2 to 3% conversion rate from view to booking. So that means it's okay. That means people are seeing it. But if you're getting no booking pace, like when you have these discussions with owners who, they refuse to give discounts and their booking pace has dropped to 0, then you're in a really, really bad situation because nobody will see your new price. Even if you raise the price or lower the price, generally fewer people will see it. So whatever you do, make sure your booking pace never drops to 0 as a revenue manager. Make sure whatever you do, you are always being seen because that makes it so much easier to fix things. If your booking pace is 0 for 21 days, that's a problem, right? That means you're going to have to give a lot of discounts and find a way to get people back into your store again. Okay, great. So let's take a look at this, and wow, holy smack! What is this right? Is this right? Why am I surprised? Let's go over to Gunny. What about the monthly revenue is fairly surprising?
Because it is only a few bookings, but the revenue is above $5,000.
Okay. Okay, fewer bookings, higher revenue. What else is surprising about this? Let's go over to Dominic. What is surprising about the revenue graph here for lot 3?
It's like low and high every month.
Okay, it's low and high every month. Okay, let's keep on refining that. Let's go over to Cynthia. What is surprising about this revenue graph?
It's getting lower on the November.
Okay, it's getting lower in
I know,
November.
sir.
Yes, Tagani.
Because the future booking is bigger revenue than
October, the
than
bigger.
today. Than
What the fuck? Right? What's going on here?
October is better. Yeah.
Why would there be more bookings in October than the current month? That's crazy, right? That never happens. Generally, we always have more bookings for the current month than for the next month. Okay, so that's already a good question to trigger. Over to Vita.
Isn't it because it's villa, so people need to take further days to plan?
But okay, isn't it because of a villa and people need further days to plan? Does anybody have a response to Vita's comment there? Well, okay, here's my comment to you, Vita. Well, so would the same be said about September back in July or back in August, right? So back in August, why didn't people plan to book in September? Okay, this is an anomaly. This is really strange. So it's pretty unusual to have, let's say, the next month actually booked at a higher rate than the current month. So it is a little bit unusual. Let's see if we see more of that. All right, and then our weekly sales. What can we see about weekly sales? Like, what does a healthy weekly sales at this villa look like? Let's go to Rizal. What's kind of like the healthy boundary of weekly sales that we should be getting at lot 3?
I think like C curve model,
Okay, so
like high on the first week and then low at the end of the week.
okay, high in the beginning, low at the end. Okay, what about Wayana? What do you think? What is the boundary points of the weekly sales?
Boundary point, like
Yeah.
most of the people making future bookings.
Okay, most people are making future bookings. They're planning ahead, as Vita has mentioned, right? Mostly blue. But we also know what is correct. We know it's between $1,700 and about $3,000, right? To add up all these. So between $1,700 and $3,000 every week is about what we should be selling. So then that's also pretty cool because we know on average how many sales are happening each week. About 2. Okay. So we know then about how much each booking is worth. All right. So each booking is probably worth between $800 and about $1,500. So that's what people are buying in at. So that part is important. That's what the budget of a guest is. See, everyone always thinks about what the price per night is, but most times when you guys go shopping around on, travel, everything, you don't think about the price per night. You think about your budget, right? I have only about this much money I need to spend on this, and if I don't care, whatever works out, but I need it to fit within my budget. Otherwise, I cannot afford it. So this gives you also an idea of how much budget each person is dealing with, and just have that in your mind. Okay, all right, let's go back up. So we have a bunch of questions now from understanding Lot 3. We understand that October did better than September. We understand about what the weekly sales should be. We see 2 sales happen every week. Let's go ahead and take a look at the calendar next. See what we're doing there. Okay. Woo! Oh yeah! Shit! I love this. Okay. All right. Let's go over to Rizal. Rizal, where's the revenue risk?
At the gap night at 24th until 28th.
How urgent is that revenue risk?
Very urgent.
Very urgent. Why?
Because it's very very tight.
Yes.
For today.
Yeah, it's gonna start expiring tomorrow. So good thing we found it today, yeah? Why did we find it today?
Because today is the revenue time.
We scheduled it so that we would find it today. Right?
Yes.
We scheduled it so that we would look at this the day before these gaps came in. So that's why, this isn't by accident, right? We didn't schedule it for the 25th. We didn't schedule it for the 28th. We scheduled our check on the 23rd so that at this point, we can still do something about it. So this goes back to another concept of where to put the Trello card, right? Where to put it up here on your stack. So you should always put the card on the day probably before the next big gap. So that way you can take a corrective action. If you put it on the 28th, then it's too late, right? You just would look back and say, well, I missed 4 days. But if you put it right before, then that gives you at least one last chance to make a corrective action. Okay, let's take a look at what we tried to do. So I think we already knew about this. And good news! Wait, I think good news. Yeah, I think there's some good news. Why do I think there's good news?
Yeah.
We are selling the 20th till the 25th or 24th.
Right. We're selling the 20th, 24th to the 28th, right?
Yeah.
But look at where we set the last gap night. We set the last gap night on the 20th to the 28th. Yeah? So what does that mean?
That's why nobody buying it that price.
We're selling the 20th till the 24th.
Yes. I think we sold, okay, at least we sold this, right? We sold levels from the 20th to the 24th without that renovation part, of course, okay? We sold that because of that last gap night price. Yay, pat on the back, yay, high five, high five, high five. Yeah, high five, high five, high five.
I think we need to adjust again for this one.
Right, now we need to adjust. Okay, so do we make the price higher or lower now?
Lower.
Well, why do we need to make it lower?
Because the booking window is very
The booking window is very short now, right? Or the booking window is long. Let's get our terminology right. The booking window.
No, it's like the runway.
The runway is very short right now.
Yeah.
The runway is very short right now. And if we want to be very studious, how do we figure out the booking window? Shindia, how do we find out the booking window for lot 3?
On the business card.
Right. Okay. People get this now, right? All right. Good. This is awesome, dude. Okay.
That is being used again.
Yeah, we got to use BB Stats for some other revenue management tools that we don't have in Bigger Stats yet. Okay. So we can go over here to the booking window, and it's over right here. I just zoomed right past it. Yeah. My eyes. Okay. Let's take a look at the booking window. Let's take at the booking window of lot 3. And let's actually be specific. We can look at all types of booking windows here. So let's go to lot 3. Okay. And let's see. The booking window is generally how many days? And the median is how many days? 28 days.
8 days.
And we have only 1 day now. All right. So if you take a look at all these dots here on this entire chart, you will not hit any of these at all anymore, right? These people would have booked already. The only chance that you have right now is to get these people right here, the kind of people who book only last minute. And even these people booked 2.7 days before, right? Even these people booked 2 days before. It has been unprecedented. Nobody has booked
With-
last minute yet.
With price what?
With, can't see the price, but we know that these people booked 3 days before arrival. So if you do sell this, this will be the first time that it is ever sold on a 1 day booking window, right?
Ooh la la. Okay.
So it's pretty unlikely. Let's go back. Oh, let me qualify that statement. Okay, let me qualify that statement. Is what I said true or only partially true? Let's go over to result. What I just said, is it true or partially true? Hey, Alvin, welcome in.
Sorry.
What I just said about the booking window, what I just said, that if you get a sale for a booking window of 1 day, that will be the first time it happened. Do you believe that's true, or is it only partially true?
Maybe it's true.
Okay, what do you think, Cynthia? Is it true or partially true?
Partially true.
Okay, Cynthia thinks it's partially true, Rizal thinks it's true. Let's go over to Gani. Gani, what do you think? Is what I said about we've never gotten a booking with a 1 day booking window, is it true or partially true?
It is true.
Okay, let's go to Dominic. What do you think? True or partially true?
It's true, sir.
Okay, let's go to Alvin. What do you think? True or partially true? Okay. All right. So what I said before to everybody was that we have never gotten a booking 1 day before arrival, right? With a booking window of what? Is that true or partially true? Okay, Alvin thinks it's partially true. Vita, what do you think? True or partially true? True. Okay, and Wayana, what do you think? True or partially true?
Partially true.
Okay, guess what? I guess we'll find out. And the reason at this moment it's only partially true. Why?
Because we limit the dates.
Yes, because we've only limited the dates. We've looked at only check-in dates, booking check-in dates from June 1st to now, to into the future. We have not gone all the way to the beginning of history yet for Lot 3. So let's take a look at the beginning of history, which means we drag this all the way to 2013. Aha! Now we see way more check-ins. Now we see way more bookings because now we look at everything that's happened since the beginning of history. Not since June 2019. Since the beginning of Lot 3's booking history. So then, let's look around. Here's one guest. Yeah, this guest booked 0.2 days. Yeah, he booked like a few hours. Yeah, 0.2 is not 2 hours. It's about 0.2 times 24. Times 24, 4 hours. About 4 hours before, right? 0.2 times 24. Okay, sorry, I just have to do the math.
5 hours. No, 5 hours.
4.8 hours. 4.8 hours. Okay, this guest booked 4.8 hours before arrival. This guest also booked.
He just came.
How about this one? This one booked 1 day before. Okay, so there's only been 2 cases of this ever.
Three.
Okay, maybe three cases of this ever happening before in the entire booking history of Lot 3. There's only been 3 cases where this happened before. Okay, so now we know the booking window. Now we can go back and take a look and be likely to happen. Since it's so unlikely to actually get a booking, what should we price this at? I don't know. Let's see what we're priced at now. We're priced at $3.5 million. What do you think would be the price that would get this sold? Over to Wayana. 2.8. Wayana thinks 2.8. What does Alvin think?
At least around 35% off. 35% off.
35% off. Okay, so 3.5 million times 0.65. So okay, wait. Let's just go ahead and do the math. 3.5 million. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I think that's a million. Yeah. Okay. Times 0.65 is about 2.2 million. Yeah, 35% off. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's go to somebody online. Dominic, what's your guess?
Around 25% discount.
Around 25% discount. Okay. So 25% discount is 2.65. Okay, 2.6. All right. Let's go to Cynthia. What do you think?
2.5 billion.
Okay, 2.5. Okay, I'll go with 2.5 because that is about how steep it needs to go. Now, what are we talking about here? What we're only talking about is, does Claire want potentially 7.5 million or nothing, right? Because by tomorrow it will be nothing. By tomorrow, your chances of getting a booking for what's left over get worse. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get enough money to pay for our own commissions, yeah, free for Claire, and also the utilities of the villa. The way that I find it very persuasive to sell gap nights is this. I tell the owners, you're not paying for anything here. You're just giving us our commissions on nights that you would have to potong from your regular sales. And then they like that. They go, yeah, you can pay your commissions from nights that I would throw away. Yeah, that's a great idea, right? Let me keep my whole entire bookings as my money, and you can sell the gap nights and make your own commission from those. Right? That kind of makes sense. That's a win-win for everyone. So that's what we're talking about. And that they usually go, oh, you're right. Yeah. I would have to pay you commission from the sales that I have already from the big bookings. But if you sold all the gap nights, then I don't pay you commissions. The gap nights pay your commissions. And so when people ask, do we bring value? I say, yeah, we pay our own. We take leftover scraps, which is about 20% of the room nights, and we're able to sell them at discount, and we're able to make that money for ourselves, right? So anyways, let's go ahead and get that shot, roll that out, and let's not forget to screenshot that. Okay, screenshot that, and that goes in. So, all right, here's a question. Now, at the same time, I left this from the 20th to the 28th. Is that a mistake, or did I mean to do it? The gap night's only from the 24th to the 28th. Oh wait, no. Actually, never mind. Forget that. Forget I said that. Okay, let's just put that there, and that's it. Okay, what should I do next? To Alvin, what should I do next? Yeah, put it on Trello. Put it on Trello. So that way we know why we did what we did. Very good. Very good. Push the rates. Very good. Push the rates. Push the rates, and make sure it says last sync on September 23rd. Yeah? So that's confirmation that it went out there. Very good. And I need to push the rates. I need to copy this. And let's see. I need to put in the thing. Am I done yet?
No.
Am I done? What should I do next?
Look at the October gap.
Ah, yes. Thank you, Wayana. I should look at the October gaps. Why?
Because that's already like less than a week.
Well, yeah, it's less than a week. It's less than a week, and what's my booking window?
That is short.
What's my booking window? We just looked at it. Does anyone remember? 28. My booking window is 28. I have 7 days to that, so that is still a revenue risk. I might not be able to sell that. So let's take a look at that. 3 to 6.
Runway.
All right, so let's take a look and see my rates from October 3 to 6. And what's strange is that I have these rates over here as my regular rates. Okay, all right, so what I can do is let's go ahead and set the rates. These essentially are the rates that I'm setting. These go a little bit further out, right? They go from September 29th to October 19th. I'm currently selling for 3.75. All right, I need some numbers here. Let's go around and see what numbers I get. Alvin, what kind of discount should I give here in order to sell my early October dates? Around 15%. Okay, so Alvin's advocating for a 15% discount, which brings 3.75. Sorry, 3.75. So it brings about 3.19, yeah? So about 3 million. Okay. What does Cynthia think? Do you want to give more or less than Alvin?
I think it will more.
Okay, a little bit more.
3.200.
3.2. Okay, all right, 3.2. All right, you got to realize something. If someone's buying a villa, a dollar or two probably is not going to make them change their mind, yeah? You got to think about what is it that might push somebody over. And that is a good question. That's a really good question. So what is the amount that will make a difference, right? So we don't really know. Do we know? Okay, let's go around and see this, right? Let's see this. Would you pay, okay, Alvin, for a nasi goreng, what do you think is the right price for a nasi goreng?
10,000.
10,000. Okay. Vita, what do you think is the right price for a nasi goreng? 10,000. All right. Shingia, what do you think is the right price for a nasi goreng?
Based on what nasi goreng,
Okay, just say your regular nasi goreng that you'd get for lunch.
10,000.
Okay, all right, let's go to Rizal. Rizal, what is it for you?
9,000.
Okay, all right.
Okay, we got a different.
Dominic,
Finally.
what is it for you? Dominic, what's it?
12,000, sir.
12,000. Okay, and Gani, what's it for you?
9,000.
Okay, let's go to Wayana. What's it for you?
10,000.
Okay, 10,000. Great, that's going to be your food allowance now for expenses.
Okay.
Got it! Yes! Okay, anyways, okay, all kidding aside. Oh my god, that's double that in Jojo right now. It's almost triple that. Like 30,000 per head. Okay. All right, anyhow, now we know. All right, let's talk about this. Let's say, Alvin, let's say the most that you would pay for nasi goreng, right? Let's say that it was raining outside, it was cold, and you didn't feel like going and getting it yourself. Would you pay, what additional amount would you pay over your 10,000 for convenience? 5,000. Crazy. So 50% more for convenience. Okay, let's go to Vita. How much would you pay for convenience?
I'm thinking of taking Gojek, so it's it's gonna be like more expensive. So like 27,000.
Wow, almost 200 times more. Crazy.
All right.
Only for the delivery. All right. Shintia, what about you? What about you?
20,000.
Okay, 20. Okay. What about Rizal?
15,000.
Okay, what about Dominic?
Around
20,000.
Okay, and then Gani?
13,000.
13. Okay. All right, and what about Wayana? Babe, how much would you pay?
20?
Okay, so what we're figuring out is what is pricing elasticity, okay? You're getting the same good, but it's also elastic for the same good, right? You're willing to pay, some people are willing to pay 9 to 27,000 for the same product depending upon the circumstances, okay? So what we are trying to also figure out, this is an early concept here, but eventually in more advanced revenue management, you have to know. You have to figure out what is the elasticity. Like essentially how much more is somebody really willing to pay and what's going to trigger that? Or how much is it that they're not willing to pay off anymore? So what this concept called is called a price response function. Price response function. So for certain prices, you'll get a lot of demand, but after a certain price, the demand will go to zero. Like who will pay 50,000 for a nasi goreng? Okay, so there you go. At 50,000, demand goes to zero. But as the price goes from, let's say, 9,000 up to 27, we still have some people who will follow along, right? But maybe after 27, when it gets to 30, if it gets to 100, probably nobody will follow along for that anymore. So that is your elasticity quotient. And this is important. A villa, do people expect it to be more elastic or less elastic than a guest house?
Yes.
Okay, less elastic means that people will stop paying at a sharper increase. So is it more stretchy or less stretchy?
No.
Villa is less stretchy. Okay, less stretchy from these two. Rizal, what do you think? Is a villa more stretchy or less stretchy?
More stretchy.
More stretchy. Okay, what about Cynthia? Do you think a villa is more stretchy or less stretchy?
More stretch.
More stretchy. What about Dominic? What do you think? Is a villa more stretchy or less stretchy than a guest house? Less stretchy. Okay, what about Gani? What do you think? More or less stretchy than a guest house?
more stretchy.
Okay, all right. My hypothesis is that it's more stretchy, meaning that a guest house is kind of like a nasi goreng, all right? After a certain price, people know that they're not going to get anything more, so they will refuse to pay, right? And a guest house, for most intents and purposes, satisfies a basic Maslow need. It just satisfies the need to just have a place to sleep. A villa somehow has more Maslow needs associated with it. And so when you have more needs, then people are willing to pay a little bit more. You know, oh yeah, you know, I'm bringing my family. I want to look good in front of my dad. I want to like make sure my girlfriend has a good time. So these things allow for more elasticity, right? Whereas if it's just for yourself, you're like, this is a stupid guest house. Why should I have to pay, you know, 50,000 more than the other person selling it? So you have less elasticity. All right. So that's important to remember. And so going to Cynthia's bid differently from Alvin's bid, I believe that your bid is the same. That if it's at 3.19 and 3.2, essentially it's the same. But if you're talking about a low-rank guest house, yes, there are differences that are sharp and dramatic. 30,000 rupiah? No, I'm not going to pay that. Why should I? I can get an identical guest house for about the same, right? There's more commodity, there's more products in that offering range. But a villa, I can't exactly get another beachfront villa for just $20 less. So you can also have that as knowing how much to discount. Does that make sense? Okay, all right. So we are at 3.2 right now. Let's see if there's any more offers. Let's go to Dominic. Dominic, what would you offer for this? What would you price this at?
3 million.
Okay, all right. What about Gunny? What would you price this at?
I don't know, maybe 3 million.
3 million. Okay, all right. I'm going to go with 3 because it is pretty last minute, and 20,000, 200,000 doesn't really make a difference either way now. I'm looking at the risk. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at, okay, we generally agree it's somewhere between 3 and 3.3, like maybe around that area. So I might as well go to the bottom, right? I might as well go to the bottom because what do I really gain from pricing it at 3.3 at the high side? I might gain another million if I sell it. But what do I lose? I might lose 9 million if I don't sell it. So if I take those odds, gain of 1 million versus loss of 9, I think it would probably be better to bet on gain of 9 rather than loss of 1. Make sense? Does everyone get that? Okay.
Wasn't it to gain 1 million? Then
Right, but the risk of gaining that 1 million is I might lose the 9. So if I price it at 3.3 and I sell it all, I get 9.9, right? And yeah, I'd gain another million. I get 900,000 if I get it. But if I don't get it, it gets 0, right? And that means nothing. But if I'm betting to win, right? I'm not betting to lose. I'm betting that 3 will win. So I'm betting that 3 will win and I get 9 back. If I bet 3.3 versus 3, I might as well bet 3. Because if I win, I get 9. Sure, I can go back and say, well, I could have got another million. But I would have 9 right now rather than 0. Okay? So these are also considerations you need to make as a revenue manager. Is it really worth it to get that extra, especially if it's last minute, especially since the probability of getting a sale is already so low? All right, go ahead.
can we take a look at the price that we set for the previous night on the 24th?
Yes, the
So-
previous night we set on the 24th was, oh, yes, we can. Let's see what we set on the 24th previously. So let's take a look and see what that rate was. This was set on the 23rd, and we set that as 3.5.
And then we sold that
We sold that
in a few days.
in a few days. We sold it, we priced it on, let's see, how is that possible? No, we must have priced it way before. Good. We must have priced it way before. And here's probably where we priced it. We priced it on the 16th at 3.8. And we sold it at 3.8. Right.
At which date?
Okay.
Did we set that?
Right. Good question. So Vita's asking a very key question. This is where the plot thickens. This is where it gets really thick here, right? So Vita's asking, based on history, what do we sell the 20 to 23rd block for? And how many days in advance did we actually set that price? So I got back and I saw that we set a price on the 16th of September. We set the price on the 16th to be 3.8. And I guess it was already sold because by the time it was the 23rd, we repriced the rest of the dates. This is confusing, right? We repriced the rest of the dates at 3.5, but those were for the dates that had not been sold, right? So we know that, I think we know that essentially it was sold at around 3.8 on these dates. Because by the 23rd today,
By 8 days before.
yeah, about 8 days before. So we can't sell it for 3.8 now because we can't even sell it for 3.5 now, right? So based on this latest thing and based on the shorter runway, we have to give a different rate. And it has to be lower than 3.5. Make sense? Okay, all right. So this is like poker. If you watch how to play poker, it's very similar. You have to make a bet. You have to decide how big your bet's going to be, and it determines on what the game is. So a lot of this is a little bit like gambling. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to make calculated gambles. You're trying to make a decision that makes sense. Would it make sense to, let's say, try to earn 300 and lose 9? That just doesn't make too much sense in my mind. And a lot of the times when owners come back and they complain about things like that, it's because of situations like this. It's because the situation is already pretty dire, and owners never come back and they say, well, I have all these empty nights that you didn't sell. Well, that's because we spent all our time trying to sell those nights. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to set this at 3. Wait, where's the thing? What double is going on? Oh, we're saying October nights. Ah! Okay. All right. So let me try to sell this at 3. Okay? I'm going to sell it at 3. Oh, sorry, I confused it because I thought this was the previous gap, right? So this is the October gap.
Yeah, but you need to change the pattern.
Okay, fine. October gap. No, these are still the same rates. 29th of September to the 19th of October. Okay. Oh, wait, I forgot. Sorry for the drama. I just remembered something, and Vita probably caught me. I got confused because I'm talking all this nonsense. I got confused and I thought that these nights were the last minute nights, but they're not. These nights are the October nights, and so Vita was actually more in the correct context. If this is 7 days away, then perhaps it's not as urgent as something that is last minute. So maybe there's a better chance of actually selling it for a little bit higher. So just for kicks, I'll price it at 3.1. Just something in the middle. Because once again, it's turned a little bit more in favor of getting a sale. It's improved the odds a little bit, right? We're not talking about last minute. We're talking about 7 days before last minute. Yep. Okay. And let's go ahead and save it. And what do we do next? Cynthia, what do we got to do next?
Push the rate.
All right, push the rates. All right.
Push the rate.
All right, so this has become routine, right? It's become culture. We don't forget to push rates. All right, and then we check over here and it's pushed, and that's it.
Check.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
What does it mean? Like, can we take a look at the table again?
Yes, let's take a look at the table.
Can you click?
I'm getting this compared.
Fan? Sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, Google, turn off
What
the
does
fan.
it mean this one? Like maximum gas 8 and then.
Ah, very good. Okay, so Vita asked about what does this mean, maximum guess, and also addition. Yes. Let's go over to Alvin. Alvin, can you explain to Vita what this means, maximum guess and guess count?
Okay, so basically that's for elastic price. So in case our maximum occupancy actually is this one, the maximum guest 8, but we have elastic price. It means if someone only 6 people book this villa, they're gonna pay this much. But if they have more than 6, let's say 7, they're gonna add more 300s, or if it's gonna add another 300s. So that's what we call elastic price.
Yeah. Which actually brings me to this question now, Gunny. Does that work if we turn off autosync? Ooh, snap!
Is there any option on the dynamic rates for this additional?
Don't know, yeah, because it is kind of a dynamic rate now, right? The rate will change depending upon the guest count.
We can try and then go ahead and look at like what happened.
I guess we can
in
try.
the listing.
But we could just keep autosync on. It's just a good default procedure, right? So we don't have any unexpected consequences. Autosync doesn't do anything unless we have a dynamic rate. And if there's no dynamic rate, then there's no change. All right, great. So then we just go ahead and push this on. All right, let's go around and see how. Okay, I think we're already over time. This is already half an hour past. Oh, sorry. This went over like hardcore. So that's pretty much this lesson that I have for today. Does anybody have any questions? Nope. Oh, good. Okay. All right. Let's go around and see what we can do better next time. Let's go to Vita. What can we do better next time? Oh, one last thing. I forgot. One last thing. We have to position this so that, it's done correctly, right? If I was very, very...
Huh?
Oh,
Huh?
shit. Sorry.
What?
I'll come back.
Rusuh
We're gonna just stop.
Rusuh.
Yeah. Okay, I'm back. Okay, all right. Back and better than ever. One last thing. This is very important. I need to schedule when to come back to look at the next revenue management cycle for each of these properties, right?
Easy.
Huh? What? What you say? Sir? Hello? Hello?
How about now?
What?
Sounds like general mass confusion.
I think you need to have a look
Hello?
here too, because
Yeah, I agree. All right. How about now?
Huh?
I can't hear you, sir. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
What you say, sir? What?
You and me.
God,
Is he being real? Is it?
Not sure.
I think everyone because everyone there.
Sir?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Gosh.
What? What you say, sir?
Shut up, Gotti!
So annoying, so annoying, right?
That's so annoying. I like how I was like, gosh,
What you say, sir?
Got it.
What you say, sir?
It's not awesome.
shut up, Gotti! Stop talking like that. It's so annoying.
So annoying.
Oh my god. All right, how about now? Still not good? Okay. Hey, everyone reload! Reload!
Just chat. Try to chat.
Wow, it was fast now. Okay. Okay, how about now? Good? Better?
Hello, sir. What you say, sir? Oh, sir. Sir.
Guys, stop that! It's so annoying!
What you say? I don't know.
Is he copying me? Okay, alright, looks like we have to end this revenue management discussion, yeah? It seems like there's no... Oh, man, okay, alright, we're all screwed, yeah. Okay. Okay, alright. So, bye, everyone!
Bye. What you say, sir? Bye. Oh, bye.
Wait, they're dicking around, right? Rizal, you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Not good. Okay. All right. Look, we'll recontinue another day. It looks like we've ran out of bandwidth at this point. Here, just watch the end of the video, right? I'll explain it here. So, bye. Okay. So,
That's hilarious.
yeah, that was pretty weird. What did you say? Is that his real voice? Okay.
Usually if you kind of like phrasing like that, yeah, it's kind of like pitch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay. Yeah, Rizal. Hey, it's just you and us now. Does this work? No. Okay. Okay. All right. So we gotta schedule this. Okay. All right. That's done. Okay. I guess we'll.